All right, let's talk about a composer from like 200 years ago, but we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to treat him like a modern artist. So forget the dusty old paintings for a second. We're talking hit singles, epic remixes, and a dark B-side that is going to completely blow your mind. Let's get into it. This is Franz Schubert.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever heard a song that's just so good, the hook is so perfect, that you wish there were more versions of it? You know, like a stripped-down acoustic version, a piano cover, a full-on hype remix? Well, believe it or not, that's pretty much exactly what Schubert was doing, all the way back in the 1800s.
And that takes us to his most famous track, what we could honestly call his ultimate summer jam. It's a piece called the Trout Quintet, and it's basically a massive remix of a song he'd already written about a fish. Yeah, you heard that right. A fish. Okay, so picture it. It's 1819. Schubert is on a summer vacation up in the Austrian mountains. The vibe is just chill. He's happy, he's relaxed, he's just hanging out and making music. And all of that bright, cheerful energy gets poured straight into this piece. You can literally hear the good times in the notes.
So how exactly do you remix a song in the 19th century? Well, he uses this amazing technique called theme and variations. First, you hear the main theme, that original catchy fish tune. Simple enough. But then, he lets each instrument take it for a spin. The piano gets the spotlight and just goes off with this flashy solo. Then the strings jump in with their own playful, faster take. It even gets a little serious and dramatic for a minute, before all the instruments just start tossing the tune back and forth. It's his way of taking one great idea and showing you every awesome thing you can do with it.
Now, this kind of music, it wasn't made for huge concert halls or stadiums. Schubert was the absolute king of making music for smaller, more intimate spaces. So let's talk about the genre that he just totally owned, chamber music. The easiest way to think about chamber music is to imagine it like a multiplayer team in a video game, right? You don't have this giant army of 100 violins all doing the same thing. Instead, you've got a small squad, 4 or 5 players, and each one has a totally unique and vital role. The violin's your damage dealer, the cello's your support. Every player is a distinct character, and they all have to work together perfectly to win. And Schubert absolutely loved this small squad setup. And why? Because it's personal. It lets the instruments have actual conversations with each other. The violin can kind of ask a question, and the cello can answer back. It was just the perfect way to get really deep and emotional without needing a massive orchestra.
And get this, he wasn't even performing for royalty or rich patrons most of the time. His main audience? His friends. They'd have these get-togethers called Schubertiats, but don't picture a formal concert. This was basically a listening party in somebody's living room. Schubert would hop on the piano, play his latest stuff, and his friends would just chill and listen. It was the 1800s version of dropping a new track for your best friends before anyone else hears it.
Okay, so back to the hit single, the Trout Quintet. Even within this small squad format, Schubert was a total rebel. He had a secret weapon in this piece that made it sound completely different from anything else at the time. So your standard piano quintet back then had a pretty set lineup. Piano, 2 violins, a viola, and a cello. That was the squad. But Schubert, he looks at the rules and just goes, nah. He benches the second violin and subs in a new player, the double bass. And this one little change was an absolute game changer. Bringing in the double bass was basically like adding a tank character to your team. It gives the music this deep, powerful foundation that holds everything down. With the bass providing that rich, low-end rumble, it freed up the piano to just soar in the higher registers without the whole thing sounding empty. It gave the piece this warm, full sound that was totally new. Okay, so we've got the happy summer jam, the hit single, the feel-good track. But like any truly great artist, Schubert had another side to him, a much, much darker side. So it's time to flip the record over and check out the B-side. So remember, the Trout Quintet is pure joy. It's sunshine, good friends, vacation vibes. Just lock that feeling in your head for a second. Because that is not the whole story. Not even close. Around the time his health really started to decline, his music took a hard left turn. The sunshine faded and it was replaced by something intense, dramatic, and deeply personal. And this is it. The Death and the Maiden Quartet. It's widely considered one of the most powerful pieces of music ever written. And just like the Trout, it's a remix of one of his earlier songs, but the mood could not be more different.
This music doesn't just sound like a storm, it is the storm. It's urgent, it's frantic, it's like a desperate argument between the instruments. It's the sound of Schubert staring mortality right in the face, and you feel that fight in every single note. But somehow, he wasn't done. Even at the very end of his tragically short life, he had one more masterpiece left in him. One final level up that would push music even further.
We're talking just months before he died. He sat down and wrote what many people think is his greatest work of all time, the String Quintet in C major. And if Death and the Maiden was a dark, raging storm, this piece is something else. It's huge, it's transcendent. It feels like it contains every emotion imaginable.
So what was his game-changing move this time? Instead of adding a bass, he used 2 cellos. 2 of them. This created this unbelievably rich, deep, and resonant sound, almost like a choir of human voices made of strings. It's a sound that can feel like a warm hug one second and then just floor you with emotion the next. Nobody had ever heard anything like it. And here's the part that just gets me every time. Franz Schubert did all of this. He wrote over 1,000 pieces of music. He changed the game with these masterpieces. And he died at the age of 31. 31.
And you know what's even crazier? After he died, a ton of his best music was just lost, stuffed in a drawer, forgotten about. It took years for other famous composers to stumble upon his work and realize the unbelievable genius the world had just missed. Now, of course, he's seen as one of the greatest ever.
So if there's one big idea to take away from all this, it's this. Schubert's real genius was proving that you do not need a 100-person orchestra to express the biggest, most powerful human emotions. All you need is a few instruments, a small room, and an incredible melody. From pure happiness to the deepest despair, he captured the whole human experience with just 4 or 5 players.
And it kind of makes you think, right? Schubert created these timeless masterpieces for a small circle of friends in a living room. In a weird way, that's not so different from how we listen to music now, privately, directly, through our headphones. So what if the next great masterpiece isn't meant for a stadium tour? What if it's being made right now, just for an audience of 1?